I bought my PC back in late 2013 and I immediately noticed that it could not run most games released on the same year. I checked what my graphics card was and it turned out it was released back in 2010. It could run games that was released prior to 2010 smoothly, but starting with games on 2013 and above, it could become selective. Now I just bought a huge upgrade of a graphics card and will replace my decade-old GT420. But before that new graphics card arrived, I just want to look back at the games that I was able to push my GT420 to run. And just to give everybody a heads up, this video's purpose is to only list out some of the modern-ish games that you can play on a system as old as this with a little bit of settings tweaking. For a full settings change outside of the game, I recommend watching videos of another YouTube channel named Low Spec Gamer. I'll put a link down on the description for his channel. So with that out of the way, let's look at some of the best games that you can play on an NVIDIA GT420. I'll list the specs of my computer down on the description so you can compare and see if you'd be able to run these games as well. Please do note that all these games will run at 1280 by 720 screen resolution for optimal performance and visual quality. So lowering the resolution down can significantly increase the game's performance. Starting off on the list is the footage playing since the beginning of the video, the 2013 reboot of Tomb Raider. This particular title in the Tomb Raider series has been praised by its phenomenal visuals and animated models, especially on the main heroine Lara Croft. Obviously, a GT420 can't render the beautiful environment and visuals on the game, so we need to tweak the graphics settings a bit to make the game run smoothly, but at the same time make the game retain its beautiful graphics. As seen in the footage, the game runs on about an average of 24 FPS. It is still playable and it climbs up to 30 FPS on certain areas. Places with dense foliage, fog, or smoke can make the frame rate drop down significantly down to 18 FPS. Performing the benchmark tells us that we have indeed at least 24 average FPS. Next on the list is Life is Strange. This game was released back in 2015, but it is a GPU heavy when it comes to its graphics. Even when you look at its recommended requirements at the store page, it only requires a GTX 260. However, the GT420 is a bit of a weaker card compared to its skin, so my PC still struggled to run this game smoothly on very high settings. So of course, I made some tweaks again on the in-game settings. As you can see, it holds up to 30 FPS with just a minor change, and I'm pretty sure I can crank it up to 60 FPS with more changes in the graphic settings, but I really am not that kind of person that bothers with FPS. As long as the game is playable and looks nice at the same time, it's fine for me. Next up is Catherine Classic. This game was ported from the PS3, so even though it was released in 2019, its system requirements aren't that high. I can mostly run the game at 60 FPS and occasionally drops down to 30 during hectic boss fights, but I didn't change much in the graphics settings since there's almost nothing to change in there. Dead Cells is one of the games that I really enjoy. It's a Metroidvania Souls-like roguelite that really piqued my interest the first time I saw it. If you visit the store page for Dead Cells, it'd say that it needs GTS 450, but my GT420 could run it just fine at 60 FPS. It only drops to 24 FPS or so on very few areas, but other than that, I can smoothly play the game at 60 FPS without changing anything on the graphic settings. Not that you can change a lot in there anyways. Another game that my PC can run and I really like is Deus Ex Human Revolution. It was released back in 2013 and my PC struggles to run it at a stable 60 FPS. The frame rate was enough for it to become playable, however, fluctuating from 24 to 30 FPS depending on what's currently happening at the game. Here are my settings that I tweaked to make it run smoothly and still look beautiful. This may be a bit of a surprise, but Grand Theft Auto 5 is playable on a PC like mine. When I first bought the game, I wasn't really expecting much. I just downloaded it out of boredom and I was really actually in the game. I could actually play it. I finished the whole story mode at 1024 by 768 resolution, and when I was free roaming after the ending, I tried to crank it up to 1280 by 720. It still runs somewhere between 16 FPS to 20 FPS, but it is still indeed playable. Of course, it takes twice as long to load the game up. The footage shows me driving around Los Santos during dusk. Dusk, for some reason, drops my frame rate really hard down to 16 FPS, but it goes back up to 18 or 22 during the night. A benchmark test shows that it usually sits around 17 to 18 FPS when driving around in a car during the day and up to 22 FPS when flying a plane. Here are the settings of my GTA 5. Setting texture quality down to low should dramatically increase the frame rate to at least 20 to 30 FPS, even when outside and when night. I was thinking of putting Warframe on the list since I've played a few hours of it until all the updates made it unplayable on my end, but I cannot get any usable footage since just playing the game already drops the frame rate down to 22 or so FPS. This one definitely is subjected to personal preferences. When I first started playing Warframe, I didn't care much about the visuals and just cranked the graphics settings to the lowest. But now that I've put a few hours in it and started to adjust all the graphics settings to make the game look as beautiful as the devs intended it to be, it started to show some really huge frame drops during the period that I played. If you do not mind the aesthetics, Warframe is a great game to pick up on Steam. It's free to play friendly and you don't need to spend anything to progress. I'm picking this up again once I get my new graphics card, that's for sure. And that's about it for this video. I've left a whole lot of games either because I haven't played them or I played through other means than buying them. For example, Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 are definitely playable on my system and I did finish those two games. So yeah, if you know any more games that you have made an old system like mine run, please do share it down below in the comment section. I will also be listing other games in the description that I was not able to include in the video. I have been with this video card for almost 7 years now and I hope that this video will be of help to people that have a similar rig like mine.